Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is time for another episode of Mornings with Matt. I'm very excited today. We've got a special guest, Miss Alicia Wahid. Woo! Hello there.
Hello.
How is life?
It's going good. It's different.
Yeah.
It's going good, I think. I'm getting used to it slowly.
You look good. You look like you're in a good headspace and a good health space.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you come from.
Well, I'm going into my junior year of high school at Xavier. I started acting around the end of middle school, so like 3 years ago. And then I came to Deering the summer of 2018 through Valleywood. And then I started taking classes here, like there ever since. And I kind of just discovered that I really love it and I want to continue to do it for the rest of my life.
So I remember you coming into Valleywood. That's interesting. What brought you in there the first time?
I was very new to acting. I was just in the ensemble for Grease, the school musical at my middle school. And I wanted to do something with acting, so I was just searching for something to do over the summer, and that was the thing I found, and I just loved it so much that I've been here ever since then.
You know, I should have told you this, but Brian Sweeney's on the show as well. Bri guy, say hello.
Hello.
Do you remember Alicia walking in?
100%. Completely silent, just like kind of absorbing and like noticing everybody, but not like saying anything, and then total transformation. Just absolutely total transformation.
Yeah. So what was going on in your life back then? So you were already a performer. Truthfully, I don't think we would have even guessed that because you were very quiet and reserved. And so what do you think is the difference between where you were and where you are now?
I was also still very new to like acting back then. In the past, I had done music for a long time. I played cello in orchestra. So I was like hiding behind an instrument and that was my performance. Mm-hmm. So I think going into acting, I was still nervous about presenting myself as the performer and not the instrument. So I was still new and like looking at everybody and making sure it was like a safe space before I opened up and was willing to talk to people.
Yeah. So, you know, we're about to go into Valleywood here starting beginning of next week, and it's a very special camp for us. It's a special program that we've been doing now, I think since 2007. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah, since the very beginning.
Yeah. So, I mean, it means a lot to us because we get a chance to meet kids and bring in teenagers and some youth students who have never experienced our studio before and the way that we teach, and through the camp we're able to do this like really sort of spectacular thing where we make a movie in such a short amount of time, but there's this other side of it that it feels like always by the time the end of the camp comes, there's this like, I don't know, there's like a mindset shift for everybody. Can you remember anything like that happening for you?
Yeah, I think I've done 2 Valleywoods. So I did one when I first came and one a year after. And I think just also allowing yourself to be open really helps with that switch, because I think this last Valleywood also really helped me switch with that. And I think I learned when I came into acting, it was, okay, acting is a defense mechanism. I can be somebody else and I can hide behind acting. But I think you guys taught me that acting is about bringing out your vulnerability. And that was sort of this shift in my mindset where acting is a safe space to completely be yourself and not hide behind anything and completely be vulnerable instead of what I thought it was, which was hiding part of yourself.
Sure. Yeah. That's really astute way of looking at it. So, so I'll just mention one other thing. So basically, it's interesting you say hide behind the instrument, You know, that's a really interesting concept, and you're figuring out now that the instrument is a part of you, and so you are on display whenever you're playing the instrument. Well, in acting, your body is your instrument. Like that's all you have to play. And I remember you actually used to, and this is common, by the way. A lot of people do this. You were hiding behind your hair.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And now I look at you, and there's a different confidence about you. There's a difference in the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you speak, and the way that you are presenting even just your eyes to the world and letting us in on who you are a little bit. Because I think that the confident person, the person that I see in front of me right now was always there. She was just hiding behind her hair. And, you know, you just needed the confidence to pull it back and say, okay, it's all right. I can be me.
Yeah, for sure. I should put it behind my ear right now.
It looks good. It looks great. Okay, so looking at a few things here that I was interested in. You write some sketch comedy. Is that true?
Yeah, I've at school there's a club for students to write their own performances. So one of them is a sketch comedy show. And I've really enjoyed doing that with school, but I've been interested in doing that myself and writing my own sketches and doing them, like filming them, but I've just never gotten around to that.
That's cool. We'll probably get you on the line to do something like that by the end of the show. I love that. That's very cool. Also, I'm excited to know, by the way. So you're an expert dog player?
Yeah, I play with dogs. I'm good. I'm good at petting dogs.
You're really good at petting dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you become an expert? Because I think my kids would really like to maybe go into that field.
I think it's just about connecting with the dog and letting the dog know that you love them.
But how do you become an expert? You know, how do you really lean into that?
I think just being respectful of the dog's space and letting the dog smell you and become comfortable with you before you try to pet the dog.
Sure. But how do you become an expert in this subject? I mean, I just want to know, because you're an expert. Obviously, it's written down here in your bio.
Yeah.
You're an expert dog player. So, I mean, to get that sort of title, I mean, that's a big deal. Like, what do you, is there any certification, anything like that?
If you talk to my dog, she will tell you that I'm an expert.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people would call you an expert. It's right here in your bio. So I was thinking, you know, what have you done? Is it just repetitions? Is it practice? I mean, do you have to just be going, like, is it a daily thing, or can you take days off?
Yeah, it's really a mindset. Like every day of your life, you have to be devoted to loving your dog.
Dog devoted.
Yeah.
Would you say that you are dog devoted, Brian? I would say I'm pretty dog devoted, but not like Alicia level dog devoted.
How are you dog devoted when you don't have a dog?
I'm devoted to your dog, Champ, and/or any dog that walks into this space.
When's the last time you saw my dog, Champ?
Technically, I saw your dog, Champ, last night when we went to grab something from your house. I could see.
Okay, before that.
Okay. Gosh, it's been at least a week.
Okay. All right. So I don't know that you are dog devoted. Like, I mean, it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's nowhere near, again, Alicia's level. I just absolutely love dogs.
Well, yeah, you can be a lover of dogs.
Yeah.
You're just not an expert, you know, dog devotion.
Expert. No, not a devoted expert in any way, shape, or form. You don't look at my Instagram and go, "Aw," like.
But you do look at Alicia's and go, "Aw."
You do. In fact, Joey did that earlier today when we were looking at the Instagram. Joey was, "Aw."
Yeah, I think those are. Do you have 2 dogs?
Yes, I have 2 dogs.
Wow, by the way, so cute. What are their names?
Tinkerbell is my younger dog. She's a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Okay.
And Sprinkles, she's a senior. We got her from a rescue, but we did a DNA test on her, and she's half Saint Bernard, half Cocker Spaniel mix.
Gorgeous. I mean, I cannot believe that that's a rescue dog. I mean, one of the most gorgeous dogs I've ever seen. Really, really cool.
I'll be sure to tell her.
Well, thank you. All right. So what else did I want to see? Oh, okay. All right. So you like making funky desserts. What is a funky dessert?
I think just anything out of the ordinary that I haven't tried before. Like, I like to just search out new dessert recipes and try them. And I like weird desserts. Like, I made Jello salad before. I don't know if that's what it's called. It's like a
So
Jello.
is it
like,
Jello
Wait.
and lettuce?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
do you-
like
Do you just like
it's Jello. It's like a dessert. So it's like Jello and like Cool Whip, and you can put like fruit in there.
Uh-huh.
Weird.
Okay. How
so
was
you
it?
don't like put the Jello into like a lettuce mold or something like that?
No.
You know? Like you don't like put
It's like-
some romaine tomatoes in there?
I don't think that would be very good.
No, probably not. I'm just questioning
No.
here.
I think the salad is just sort of like it's a funny way of saying we're gonna mix a bunch of stuff together.
Basically.
So okay, good. So how was that? How was the Jello salad? You recommend?
It was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
All right. What's another funky dessert you've made?
The other day I made a baked Alaska, which is like ice cream and cake, and then you cover it in meringue, and then you use like the cooking blowtorch to like make it cooked. I'm struggling to find a word for that, but you like take the blowtorch over it.
Oh, cool. I've seen those in the restaurants. Those look good. All right. So,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe I'd bring it up because, Joey and I really like desserts. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you should bring one in here that's a funky dessert and share it, but you could. I mean, you're allowed to. You're definitely
I
allowed.
could.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's just go ahead and say that's a really, really good way to buy our friendship. Would
Yeah.
be to bring us dessert.
Yeah, you cannot buy our love, but you can bring in dessert, and we will love you for that. That's for sure. Last question about your bio. Speaking of being an expert, apparently you're a Seinfeld expert.
Dang it! I missed the.
I have seen every episode multiple times.
Yeah, and then you did a monologue from Seinfeld. I didn't realize you did a monologue, and you were like this crazy fan. So you're sort of nutso. You wear Jerry Seinfeld shirts, and you go to the like rallies and things.
We also celebrate Festivus.
No, you don't.
We do. We have the poll and everything.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
we
know
do
what,
the
she's-
airing of grievances.
Oh, that's amazing. I do the airing of grievances every day, by the way, so that's what it's like being around me. But that's so fun. You really do? You have the poll?
Yeah.
Like for
we have
real?
a poll.
Like where do you
Yeah.
keep the poll?
It's usually kept in the garage.
I can back that
So we bring it out
she has
around
talked
time.
about this on multiple occasions, including in Chaos Comedy shows. There have been
Yeah.
multiple times on stage where we were in like a living room setting, and she has talked about how her family has celebrated this and has all this stuff. It's true. It's a fact.
Okay, so let's have a little Festivus. Can we pretend today's Festivus and see what that's
Sure.
like? Is that all right? Does that go against any Festivus belief systems or anything?
The beauty about Festivus is there's no rules about it.
It's really for the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. And I can't take the credit for that. That's written right in the show. All right, so here's our poll. Okay, this will be our Festivus poll for the day. I'm gonna stick that down. All right, so what do we do, Alicia? How do we celebrate Festivus?
So, we would do the airing of grievances right before we eat dinner.
Great, let's start there. You begin.
Okay. Joey, one thing I have been so disappointed in you over this past year because I have not gotten enough high fives from you, and that's really disappointing to me.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's tough.
Okay.
That's tough.
All right, good.
Wow.
Next.
This is hard.
You gotta come from Matt Deering now. I'm the easy
I
target.
really prepare like ahead of time.
Go after Brian next. It's easy.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can
like-
pretty much.
I was
find
gonna say it was
anything to
nice
make
not
fun
being
of
the
with
easy
Brian.
target.
Like fish in a barrel.
I'm trying to like be nice, but also still say the disappointment.
I mean, honestly, when you said the high five thing, I was like, yeah, I could see that. I could see how
Yeah.
I could unevenly proportion my high fives.
Totally,
Like, I
man. You need
feel-
to improve in this area.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
Like, why would I make Alicia feel bad? I never meant to do that. So.
Okay. Brian,
Yes.
Brian's scared.
Terrified.
the way you have disappointed me
Mm.
over the year.
Me too.
It's almost as hurtful to just hear the first part, like without even the second part. It's like,
You're disappointing to me, Brian.
At least your name wasn't called first.
Great. You're disappointed to her. Okay, well, let's just move forward.
When I
That we'll
think
just
of
make
disappointment, Joey just comes to the top of the
without going more specific. We'll just leave it at
just
this
Brian's
vague
a disappointment.
for the
Brian
for the year.
disappointed me.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
good.
I'm trying to think. This is very hard because Brian hasn't really disappointed me.
Well, no, he did for the entire year. So now go ahead. Now it's my turn.
Matt, you have also disappointed me.
Same as Brian's.
over
Really,
this year.
really. Can't I get?
I
Can't I
think
get a
of anything.
unique insult?
I guess I'm the only one who actually upset Alicia this year.
I usually prepare ahead of time. It's easier to be mean to your family.
Sure. So here's the deal now. Then we move on to feats of strength. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we should probably have Brian and Joey just go at it and wrestle it out on camera and see who wins.
Yeah, so in the show, that's what would be done. But in my family, we don't want to hurt each other. So what we do is we take different physical activities and we compete. So it's the amount of push-ups you can do in a minute, the amount of
Yo,
who can
let's
do the
do
longest
this.
plank.
No.
You can
You
do
guys
the
are gonna actually
longest-
fight. We're going the show route.
Yeah, do the show round. And we do the longest wall squats.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Joey, come on down here. It's feats of strength time. Brian, you and Joey are gonna fight in front of camera. Hold on a second.
feats of strength. Okay.
Right here. No, you gotta get up.
Okay. I don't know this.
You're literally gonna wrestle each other right here. No.
Okay, but let's go to where I can throw him on a beanbag like I usually do.
We're gonna literally
Just start punching each other. Yeah. It has begun. It's already begun. Okay, and good, guys, good. All right. Very good. All right, excellent.
That was nice. I was terrified I was gonna hit the
Yeah,
very
I
hard
was
ground.
trying to wrap your
Very hard
face so that you fell.
Okay, all right. Let's get the camera back.
Sure.
So then we eat, right? Then we have like a weird dessert, something funky.
We always do food that's been in the show.
Okay.
So everything we eat has to have been in Seinfeld.
Like one of those one of the bread things, the marble breads.
Yeah, like rye bread.
The rye
I made
bread, yeah.
vodka one year, the chocolate and cinnamon. Black and white cookies. Like, just everything that's been in the show we have to eat eventually.
That
So we
is
did big
amazing.
salad.
That's so cool. How long have you guys been doing that?
I think 4 or 5 years.
Wow, that's cool. What a fun tradition. When is Festivus?
December 23rd.
Okay, all right.
I'm tired. Oh, that was quite the fight.
All right, good. So moving forward here, you say that your confidence has been dramatically impacted by the classes, right? You want to
Yeah.
You want to go into that a little bit? Like we spoke about it a little bit, but just sort of how you think specifically the studio or the classes have impacted you and your confidence.
I think it's just such a safe space to be yourself, and with acting, I feel like the coaching is very encouraging. Like, I don't feel like I feel like comforted. It's a very comforting experience to be there, and just going into classes, I feel like I can put my entire self out there and I won't be judged for that. And I feel like having a place for that helps me be myself here. And because I've learned it here, I've learned to take that into other aspects of my life, because I realize being vulnerable is okay.
That's awesome. All right, good. So moving forward here, you're working out.
Yeah.
How long have you been working out? Since quarantine?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's great. That's great. Like I said, you were looking good. Your skin tone looks good. Like, do you feel healthier?
Yeah, I do.
You feel stronger? You feel more confident?
Yeah, I feel good working out consistently.
Yeah, that's another thing you can do for your confidence is just make sure that you put that into your daily habitual routine and make it a priority. And if you think about it, you're just prioritizing giving yourself more energy. If you look at it that way, then it becomes something that becomes mandatory, and that's a good thing to put into your life. So that's awesome. Let's see what else you've been doing. You've been keeping up with your friends, right?
Yeah.
So how you just the typical everyone jumps on the Zoom, or like how are you guys going about it?
We all use Discord, which is like typically known for gamers, but we don't really game. We just like hang out, and we don't necessarily like have conversations all the time. It's just nice to like be in
Wait, what is Discord?
It's like a chat, and you can also do like video calls. And a lot of people use it for gaming, like. So
it's like underground Zoom, a little bit.
Basically.
I love that. I love finding the Zoom alternatives. All right, very cool. So then you and your friends you've grown stronger. You said a little bit. So the thing you're struggling with, one of the things, we'll get to your questions here in 1 second. So something about finding proper motivation.
Yeah.
So
I think
give me an example of that.
Like the one I wrote down is driving. I'm learning how to drive right now, but I don't find it enjoyable, and I don't have motivation to go practice unless I have a specific place I need to be.
Sure.
Even though I know I need practice, I just struggle to find the motivation to do that if I don't have like an immediate goal.
Right. So do you want to drive?
I do.
Why?
Because I think it's a step in everybody's growth, and it's a step of independence.
Well, weirdly, it's not anymore. That's the weird thing, because you're not the only human being in your age group who, I almost said kid. I had to like filter out the word that was coming to me. Yeah. So you're not the only person in your age group that is now looking at driving differently. Because when I was growing up, I mean, we wanted to drive when we were 13, and we like couldn't wait to get behind the wheel. And so to get reps in was like a big deal. Like we were super excited about it. But Uber didn't exist. There was no such thing as you just grab your app and you hit Lyft and like someone's there within 35 seconds ready to pick you up. Like that didn't exist. So it was either you learned how to drive or you stayed home all day every day, and you had no options. Now I rode the bus, so I guess that was an option too, but again, thinking about the sitting and waiting and the heat for the bus, it's like, dude, I got to get my license. It was a driving force. So technically,
a driving force.
You like that, Joey? So technically, you don't have to. It's not a rite of passage anymore. So why do you want to drive?
I think it's just about those milestones. Like 16 is the milestone. Like when people think of 16, they're like driver's license.
Yeah. So are you gonna be just like 21, drunk?
Don't plan on that.
18, I go to war. Like.
Yeah, I think it's just about having something to look forward to, I guess.
I'm cracking.
Yeah, so I guess the whole reason I'm interviewing you in this way, interrogating you, is the fact you don't have a good why. That's why you're not motivated.
Okay, yeah.
So we got to figure out the why.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could wrap your mind around this idea. Anything could change. Anything could go away at any time. And so imagine that Lyft and Uber just go away. They don't exist. And driving equals freedom. It equals that chance for you to be in control of where you're going to go. Now, to get to a destination, to get to some place, because I actually like that. What's interesting is if I don't have a destination, I'm not excited to drive. Well, that's life right there. you know, and that's like pretty much everything I teach is like you have to have a destination. It can't be the place that you were my forever place, you know, and the destination may change, but if I don't have a destination, it's sort of like, why would I drive around aimlessly? It kind of doesn't make sense, right? So maybe if you think to yourself, setting certain goals, certain again, I guess maybe even driving milestones. So where might I want to go one day? Where might I want to drive my family one day? Where might I want to go on a trip with my friends? And just start thinking about these things and go, okay, so in order to do that, I'd have to be able to get on this type of freeway or this type of highway. And then you'll achieve a certain thing. And then it goes back to the repetitions. I mean, how did you become a dog petting expert? It was really just by reps, you know, it's by doing it every day. So
and it's a challenging profession to get into. You know, you're honestly the first person I've ever met who has that 100% on their record.
Yeah. If you ask her dog, she's an expert for sure.
Yeah.
So you got to think to yourself, I'm getting my repetitions in. Now, here's the other thing. There's the flip side, which is the fear side. And the fear side in this case can drive you in a positive way. I love talking. Why is that? That was like not funny.
Drive you? Drive you?
Yeah, okay.
You keep saying that, and you're talking about driving.
Thanks, Joey. That was really funny.
It's an inside joke.
Now, it's funnier now, too, that I picked you up on it, and then you were right. Okay, here we go. Backing up. So to drive you, thank you. What is going to motivate you is it can be a positive fear. So another good why to get out and get behind the wheel every day would be that you are driving a piece of machinery that could kill you or your friends or some random person. Seriously, you know, that's a serious why. There are kids out there that don't get enough repetitions in, and then they get on the road. I mean, I know it was funny. I went to Brophy. And so I'm very familiar with Xavier and Brophy and whatnot, and there's a lot of very privileged kids that go to school there. And I remember I drove to school with my sister, and we drove like a really old used light blue Corolla, and I hated that car. But it was hers, and then it was like that got to be my hand-me-down car that I just hated it. And I'd like pull in right next to the brand new Hummer and the brand new Lamborghini and like all these other cars that these kids were just gifted, you know. But what's crazy is 90% of these kids literally would crash their cars within a week to 3 months from getting them. And I just kept watching it happen over and over and over again. And then I bought myself my first car, which was an old Chevy Blazer, and I loved that car. You know, it was like an old, like beat up Chevy Blazer, but I fixed it up to be real nice, and it was mine though. Like I had ownership in it, and I never crashed that car. I mean, it didn't get ruined until Brian drove it.
Until I ruined it
many years later. So you got to think to yourself, I got to put my reps in. Let me tell you something crazy. When I bring my kids to work and they come at like 3 a.m. sometimes with me, and like there's nobody alive in the world, I actually let them drive in the parking lot. It's part of our tradition. So my 8-year-old now has already driven my car, including the pedals, the steering wheel, everything. Now I'm sitting with him, so I have full control of the vehicle at all times if I needed to. But I'm talking about hands off, feet off. He did everything. Drove the car, parked the car, like the whole bit. And he's 8. But it's interesting. There's a reason why there. My grandfather did that for me when I was a kid. So I had this really like built up confidence in driving by the time I was 16. It was so easy. Like it wasn't even something I would think about. I just sort of did it naturally, you know. And I wanted my kids to have that because you want to have the same relaxation that we try to get in all areas of life and in our acting. Like we want to get to that place where we can relax. You got to be that way behind the wheel or you're going to crash your car.
Yeah.
So you need to get out and practice today.
Okay.
It's kind of what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you need to reach different milestones.
I mean, I feel like it was overplayed, but I hit it because I knew you.
Dude, you were gonna miss it. You were totally gonna miss it. You know it. All right, here we go. What questions you got for me?
Okay, my first one was, I really struggle with advertising myself or like talking about myself in a good way because I don't want to feel like I'm bragging or I don't want to look like I'm self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering how I can like confidently promote and advertise myself and my accomplishments like on social media or like applying for positions, like that type of thing.
Humble brag.
So what's a what's something that you probably should have bragged about that I don't know about? That's awesome about you.
At school, there's a club, and I'm applying for a leadership position right now, and I had to like write a little speech about it. But what I tried to do is I try to like joke around my accomplishments. Like I'll hide an accomplishment in a joke.
So like what are your accomplishments? That's what I want to know.
Like I get straight A's. I have been in leadership positions like in the classroom. Like I'm responsible. I have good time management. Like, and I know that I'm worthy of the position, but I struggle to like vocalize why that is because I don't want to seem like bragging.
This makes sense. So why do you get straight A's?
Because I work hard at it.
Why do you work hard at it?
Because I want to be the best version of myself that I can be.
Why? Who put that in your mind?
Myself.
Really?
Yeah.
You were just born that way?
Well, I'm sure there's situational aspects to that. Like, my family obviously encourages me to do that, but I think I also want to do that for myself.
Sure. So your family encourages you in some way to better yourself. What about teachers? Any teachers inspire you throughout your entire life so far?
Yeah, I've had teachers that I think understand me and encourage me to also work hard, and I think that
do you remember a moment where there was one time when a teacher said something, did something, challenged you in a certain way that kind of helped flip your perspective on taking school seriously or doing it well or something?
My 7th grade English teacher, she was my favorite middle school teacher. She always just let me be myself, and like with my writing, like I also took a creative writing class with her, and she just was completely accepting of everything I did and always encouraged me to grow and gave me constructive criticism that helped me sort of take it seriously and want to be better.
What was your 7th grade English teacher's name?
Mrs. Sears.
Mrs. Sears, good. So here's how you humble brag. All right. And it's this is an art form, and it's got to be sincere though. You can't be somebody that's trying to pretend like you're something you're not or whatever. But this is I think the best way to brag about you, because ideally you're not going to brag about you. You're actually going to have other people talk for you and have your actions do the talking for you and have your work ethic do the talking for you, etc. So if you were wanting to talk about your straight A's, let's just say, and you thought, hey, I should really mention this. I mean, it's kind of important and for whatever's going on with me, I would start with Miss Sears. So let's say you're going to make a post. You'd start with, hey, I wanted to write up here and say that I got straight A's this year. Like, how cool is that? Period. When I look back, I really can look at many teachers along the way, including my family, who have encouraged me and helped me. But there was one moment where this one woman, Miss Sears, in my 7th grade class, she really took the time to stop and help me understand the why behind writing and got me very excited about learning. And the key is getting excited about learning. Like, she opened that up for me. And so in a lot of ways, I credit her and so many others of my mentors. And I just want to say thank you because this year I accomplished something that I haven't ever accomplished before. I got all straight A's, and I'm just very excited and very grateful. So thank you all who have helped me along the way. Done. So now you've gotten to brag and say, hey, this year I got straight A's, but really you're passing off the credit and putting it honestly where it belongs. You're loving the people that loved you to help you get there. And I think that will help you to brag about you, is to find that core of sort of where it came from. Because there's this idea of being prideful versus being proud. So what you're worried about is, I don't want to come across prideful about my accomplishment, and yet I'm proud of it. So if you can find the way to be proud and put the credit where it belongs, and here's the deal, like, so right now we're talking about your accomplishments, and they're getting, we're bragging about you a little bit, right? But where did that come from? It came from your willingness to give of your time to be on this show and to lift us up. And you've done nothing but be super nice, super kind, and lift up the studio and say nothing but nice things. And so just like that's the way the world works, automatically it's coming right back at you, hopefully tenfold, and that's the goal. So I would think to yourself, anytime I want to brag, who can I thank?
Okay.
And sincerely thank. You don't want it to be where you're literally contriving something to make it look like something that it's not. Like, sincerely, who deserves gratitude here? And then let me lift them up, and then I can talk about the accomplishment, but I can also talk about the fact that nobody does anything in this life by themselves.
Mm.
Sound good?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, good. Next question.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Brian, do you have anything to talk about here on this this pride issue?
I mean, I have it. So you kind of spoke on it right there. It's really about being very honest and thanking the people around you. And
like, did
and
that hit home for you? Was that something you were like, huh, like, that's interesting?
100%. Honestly, I've heard it from you, and that's a huge lesson that you taught me already. So it was just sort of like hammering that down into my brain again and reminding me again. But there have been so many times, like, Alicia, even just thinking on when you said that, I thought in class and stuff about times where, like, I talked about how much you have grown and things like that, and people have done that for me too. And when I was in the hospital, for example, I used to grab things and, like, want people to know what was going on with me, and, like, want them to know, like, hey, I'm doing this, but I'm still crushing it, like. And instead of doing that, recently, through help from Matt, I've been able to figure out ways to, like, instead just do things, and other people then talk about how that stuff is happening, versus me going like, there's something, it's just, I don't, like, it turns people off when it's this moment where it's like, yeah, I'm doing this stuff and it's really cool. And I used to want to do that a lot, and I still want to, and I battle with it all the time. So it's been, for me, just a daily battle of realizing that and just being very aware of it and cautious of it. So definitely that hit home, Matt, for sure. And I think as you move forward, Alicia, being aware of that stuff and letting people do it will be super helpful for you.
Okay.
All right, cool. Question number two.
Okay, so the next one is, whenever I do something that I consider to be a break or relaxation, like reading an enjoyable book instead of reading a book I'm required to read for school, I always feel guilty, like I'm not being productive 100% of the time, and I'm not doing the work I could be doing. Mm-hmm. So even though I feel like I do need, like, a mental break sometimes. So I was wondering, how can I find a balance between working and relaxation without feeling guilty about one or the other?
You read enjoyable books. So funny. Some parents would be like, if I could just get my kid to read any book, that would be amazing. She's like, I sneak in extra books on the side, and it's just so hard. So here's the deal. This is a great question, and this would be one of the deals that I battle with as well. So the answer is very simple. You need to make relaxation, spending time with friends, spending time with family, you actually have to consider it to be work.
Okay.
It's work in this way. if I don't spend some time relaxing, some time refilling my own bucket, I'll run out of energy, or I will crash, or something. I'm going to hit a dead end. So in order to work as my best self, it's just like working out. It's that you have to just put it in that same bubble. To be my best self, and you keep, it'll adjust and change over time, and you'll find different like zones depending on how old you are and what all you have going on. But basically, you'll know I need about this amount of relaxation, of checking out, of removing myself from the situation in order to be refreshed and come back with a fresh pair of eyes and whatnot. So sometimes to just release everything for 24 hours, and I mean like cell phone, TV, everything, and just be with nature and be with your books and be with, and not the workbooks, but just like a good book. And sometimes that's when the best ideas come to you. So you can consider that a part of your work because it fills up your bucket. If my bucket's not full, I don't have enough left over to give. So that's a thing where you have to decide, like, that's a thing that you're going to do. And then just to make it important. So, these guys know I have a little mantra of my own. When I leave here, no matter how tired I am, no matter how many hours I've worked or whatever, I always say I'm going to work. When I'm going home, I say I'm going to work, because in my mind, my job then is to be a really excellent dad and a really excellent husband, and not walk in with stress, not walk in with tiredness in the day. Now, I don't always succeed, but that's my goal. My goal is to say, hey, I'm going to work, and to be the best that version of me I can be, and to be the best dad I can be. I can't be working simultaneously when I'm trying to like hang out with my kids. I got to just be with them. So that's what I would say is, like, if you just stop considering it not work, you'll probably be able to wrap your mind around it all the time. And you can go, okay, ideally I need 20 minutes a day, and I need a good 12 hours straight once a week or something like that. And then you just schedule it in, and then the key is to stick to it and be honest with yourself about, was this relaxation time right now, or was I slacking off? Because that's where everybody gets themselves in trouble, is all these different apps and different, whatever that are so addicting, and they cause you to go from one thing to the next. So I used video games the other day as an example. I don't really play video games that much, but I used to when I was a kid, and I don't watch TV that much, but I used to when I was a kid. So the tendencies are there. Well, I haven't been able to play basketball for a while because of my knee, and so Joey downloaded this new basketball video game, and we played the other day. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it filled my bucket. I felt good. I'm like, I feel like I'm almost playing. It's so great. Well, one game turned into 2, turned into 3. And it's like, that's when you get yourself in a trap, and you have to be honest with yourself and go, okay, there's a time and a place for this, and I got to make sure that I keep it within a certain bubble. And then it's very safe, very productive. It's actually necessary. But if I don't cut it off and I allow those things to trigger in my mind where something becomes addicting, then I get myself stuck in some sort of a pattern and then that's where the guilt comes from.
Okay.
All right, last question.
Okay. I was wondering how I could let go of the concept of perfection and just be okay with where I'm at, and be okay with like giving something my all. Like, I think this kind of goes into like, I have a lot of ideas in my mind all the time, but I never pick one and just go with it, because I think I'm scared that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So then I just don't do it, because I'm scared that it won't be what I think will be perfect.
Right.
I don't know how to let go of that and just be okay with doing something, even if it's not going to be perfect.
So the mindset is, and our mantra here is passion, love, mastery. We do things you're passionate about, always center your decisions in love, and then strive toward mastery. Mastery is different than perfection. A master realizes that they are never done and will never be done, and there is no such thing as perfection. So everything we do, always, there's a way to get better, always. So therefore, the better we are at something, the more the minute details will pop off, and then we'll find like, oh, there's like this tiny little way to get better. And that becomes more challenging. That becomes harder to see the little things and to make somebody, like even as an acting coach, it's a more difficult skill set to acquire as a coach, to be able to help somebody who's already a celebrity, to help somebody who's already a billionaire and go, oh, I'm going to make you like this much better. You know, that's more difficult than to take a brand new student and make them this much better over one session, you know.
And you've had to do that before, right, Matt?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy it. Like, I prefer that, because that's where my mind operates at its best, because I'm always looking for that way to get better. So once again, reframe your dialogue to yourself. So instead of saying which project is going to work, which project can I do to perfection, which project is going to be good, here's what I say, literally, and you can ask Joey, because I say this all the time. We were going to be setting up for a casting today. That it turns out it's not going to happen. The client canceled last minute last night, but we were supposed to have this big casting today. So we had to reinvent casting because we needed to do it virtually. It's never been done that I know of in the way we were trying to do it. And we were trying to combine about 7 different technologies that we own and try to make this thing work. And it was just up in my brain, and I'm going, I think there's a way. We just have to find it. And so what I said to Joey, you probably remember this, Joey. I said, all right, we need to fail. Like,
yeah,
it's time to fail. Let's try to get 5 failures in today is our goal. So my goal was literally to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did. We've probably failed about 3 times. We stepped away from it. And then Brian and Joey
to play basketball
failed. Brian and Joey failed while I was gone. And then I came back to their failure. And then I walked up there with a whiteboard and I drew out all of our technology on the board, and I kind of drew lines between different things. And Joey's like, it's not gonna it's not gonna work. Like, we're done. And I just kept drawing lines, and I'm like, Joey, but what if like? And he's like, it's not gonna work. And I was like, well, how is this plugged into that? And he's like this. And I'm like, what about that plugged into that? And then Joey goes, I got it. And he rearranged a couple chords, and all of a sudden we've got this brand new way of doing it. So the idea is, you don't go after the project to do it well. You start it to fail, because only through failure do you progress and get better. So there's no way you could possibly ever have a successful content creation career, a successful sketch comedy career, if you never make a sketch and put it out there. You got to put it out there, and you got to fail at it. So if your goal is literally, let me do the best, absolute best failure I'm capable of doing, and then while I'm doing it, learn, grow. After it's done, learn, grow. After I put it out there, learn, grow. Look back on it and be embarrassed by it because of how much I've already learned and grown. Then you can decide you want to take it down or keep it up. That's fine. But I think your fans they're gonna appreciate where you started. So let's just say you started creating content and you were like, all right, I'm gonna make a sketch and put it up twice a week. Every Monday, every Friday, you're gonna get an Alicia Waheed sketch. It's going to be me, combing a cow or something, because that's what I do in my free time. And there'll be a sketch about that. And then that's it. And you'll have 3 followers to start. It'll be me and your mom and dad. And we'll watch, and we'll be big fans. But then after doing that consistently for a year, for 2 years, you'll be in a place where there she is combing the cow. You got that, Joey?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up so our viewers have a little context.
Yeah, there she is. She's combing the cow.
And
that cow's really happy. Look at that. She's not only an expert dog player person, but cow masseuse.
I would say maybe she's just an all-around animal lover.
That's possible. Yeah, that could be the case.
That works.
Yeah.
So so does that make sense? Like the idea of approaching this from failure?
Going into that with like putting out content, how do I narrow down my ideas and just pick one to like go with? You
got to just start. You have to start, and you have to know and assume and realize that there will be a better idea after you've started. So write it down, but you've already started something. So I told Joey this way back when, but I wanted him to be known as somebody who finishes what they start.
Yep.
So whether it's great, whether it's not great, like I'm going to finish this to completion to the best of my ability right now. And so we started getting into that sort of habit with Joey early on. And now he's making videos and doing content creation beyond what he thought he was capable of doing, beyond his wildest dreams. Joey, why are we going through all of her personal Facebook stuff here?
I was preparing the next thing because you told me to have it ready.
Okay.
So I had the camera on you.
Okay.
Ready to switch
I was
back
like,
to her when
I was like,
she was
is our live
talking.
audience
It's
like
they just see everything right now.
No, I mean, I gave you the live feed to the TV on your right.
Oh yeah.
So you could just.
Can I jump on this also real quick, Matt? to help with that?
for sure.
So, Alicia, one of the things you can look at too is like this show even is a great example of this. If you go back all the way to episode 1, it's crazy how much it's grown.
Also,
And, like,
please don't.
So Joey's saying that for a reason. I mean,
just
it was
kidding.
literally just two people next to each other, and we were figuring it out. And even beyond that, when we started, I had this idea of a certain thing wanted to do with the show where there was like a bunch of guests coming in at once in certain things, and then Matt was like, well, let's try this, and let's just go with this and try this. And it was the single guest coming in, and it's turned into something so cool. But it was because he goes, all right, we're just going to try it this way and keep getting better every single time. And Joey and him kept reorganizing all the video stuff and the way things looked and changing things in editing, and it's slowly getting better and better and better. And every episode, like literally we go afterwards and Matt's like, okay, here's what we did really well. How can we grow for tomorrow's episode? And it all started from just going, let's just do this. Us as a team coming together and going, let's just make something happen. But we look back at that first one and Joey just did it. He's like, yeah, but don't look back at it, you know? Because ideally you're growing through it and it's continuing to get better.
I really liked your Joey voice.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but don't look back.
Yeah, Alicia,
Like a little
the
nasal.
first episode started like this, okay? Me live, and I'm going, I think we're live, I don't know, just trying to figure it out. Not sure how this thing works.
We did put out a
literally,
spoof video
that's, yeah,
about
we
it
did a
on
spoof
our
video. Like, that was
Instagram.
it. Like, I'm just, like, talking and going, I don't know what we're doing, and admitting it, you know, and it was terrible. And then, did you see yesterday's episode by any chance?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so yesterday we talked about yesterday morning's big debacle. We actually did an episode and took it down because it was so bad. And my wife called and she's like, babe, I love the show. It's really good, but today's was so bad. You gotta take it down. She's like, the beginning content was awesome, but then after that you were so sloppy. And I was like, yeah, I know. So I was trying to teach this casting concept, and so I had this great idea, but it was last minute, and I half the show, not half the show, 3 minutes of the show, I was sideways.
I'll give
The camera
another
was
example.
sideways. Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
It looked like this.
Yeah, so I was like that, trying to teach everybody, and my whole point was that you need to be prepared. And my wife's like, so your point was to be prepared, and yet you looked like sideways. And then I dropped my phone 3 times as I was trying to give the example from my phone, and I was out of focus. I mean, it was just horrific. So interestingly, we took it down, and then we redid the show that day. And Shay came in, and then we ended up having a really good time. It was a lot of fun yesterday. But that only came from the failure, from the willingness to get in there and fail, and to maybe even take an idea that isn't a great idea and then turn it into a great idea. So,
Right.
So what are your top 5 ideas right now?
I had one that I started writing, which is like a horror infomercial.
Okay, hilarious. That's great.
I had another one, which was a sketch about trying to write a sketch,
Okay.
like how terribly it
Mm-hmm.
went
Mm-hmm.
trying to write it. I had one where it was like a parody of like those young adult movies, like make an extreme version of that, where it's like a parody of that.
Mm-hmm.
I had one where it's like, "Where's Waldo?" but they're like actually hunting him, like for his coat.
Yes, that must be made. Okay, so here you go. I got it for you. You start with the horror infomercial. Begin there, flesh it out, get it done, put it up.
Okay.
The other ideas are really good. They're not as simple. So this one is this idea is simple. It's doable. I know you can accomplish it with what you have at your disposal. You're not gonna have to go get a bunch of Where's Waldo costumes and different things that you'll need for the other one. But the other one's super funny. That's probably a better idea, truthfully. Like that's really clever and interesting and something that should be made. But don't let the fact that you have a really good idea stop you from starting, because you need to fail on the horror infomercial. You need to make it, do it, have it be kind of funny, but what did you learn in the process to get yourself all the way to the Where's Waldo sketch, which is hilarious, but you might not have the skill set yet or the resources or whatever you need to make that sketch at the level that it needs to be done. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes we'll come up with these great ideas here, and I'll just tell the team, like, that's a great idea. We're just not ready. Like, we can't do that thing because we haven't earned it yet. So, yes, great idea. Do I want to do it? Absolutely. I mean, I would love to do it. We haven't earned it. So as soon as we earn it, as soon as I feel that we have earned the confidence to do that thing, we'll do it. Until then, let's go with this idea and this idea and this idea, and all of these ideas will make us better going toward that other idea.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to drive every day for 15 minutes for the next 7 days. Write that down. I will drive every day 15 minutes minimum for the next 7 days. When you do that, think about ways you can give. So this is interesting. I will drive to a Starbucks, get a coffee for a friend of mine, drive to their house, leave it on their doorstep, call them like after I get home, or I call I'm not going to tell you to drive and talk on the phone, but pull around the corner, call them and say, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus. There's a coffee outside your door. And then boom. So now you doubled down on, I had a destination, I had a purpose for doing what I was going to do.
But if it's Festivus, then she does need to tell them the grievances.
Of
that
course,
she has
of
against
course.
them,
Yeah.
while also leaving the Starbucks on.
But that might be it might be their own family's responsibility to air out the grievances.
Okay. Yeah.
So, all right. And then here's another example. Why don't you let's say you make some funky dessert, right? And you're like, oh, maybe I'll drive to my favorite acting studio and then deliver that dessert, and then, drive away and be like, hey guys, I made a funky dessert. I thought you'd like it. And then maybe they would enjoy it.
Hey, Joey and Matt, specifically.
Good idea.
Yeah.
This is for you.
But anyway,
guys.
so 7 days, it's going to be 7 days of giving, okay? 7 days of I'm going to send out love. So in order to do that, I have to have a destination of some kind. So you can get creative about your destinations that you're going to go to. And then you can think about what would challenge me as a driver. So a certain distance would challenge me. Does grandma live a certain distance away that's doable, but it's further than I've gone normally? So now I can go do something nice for grandma and include that in my work, essentially. All right. So that's number one thing you're going to do. And then number two is what's today? Is today already Friday? No, it's Wednesday. Okay. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. All right. So by Friday, you're going to have written the sketch, the horror sketch, horror infomercial sketch. Over the weekend, you prep it, and you'll be filmed, edited, and air the premiere of the horror film infomercial sketch on Wednesday.
Okay.
Done. Then that one's under your belt. You don't have to worry about which thing to pick. Just focus on that and that only. If you have other good ideas that come to your mind, jot them down. But your goal literally is to fail. And you might even put, if you hate it, you put it up and go, my homework assignment was to fail. Here you go, world. This is a big fail. And just put it out there. And then you can take it back down if you want or whatever, but that's like literally that's your goal. It's like, okay, I'm going to fail to the best of my ability, boom. And then not until that's done do you get to choose the next idea. And then you give yourself these little goals. So accomplishing that thing deserves a pat on the back, but you're never seeking perfection because that's an impossible thing to actually go after anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Okay.
You got 2 go-tos. All right. Well, we love you, Alicia. Thank you for being on the show. What did you want to show us, Joey? Is there something specific?
Yeah, I mean, there's a singular tweet.
Oh, yeah. All right.
On her Twitter.
So we really should talk about your Twitter, because you've got one tweet that you've ever tweeted in your entire Twitter career. And Joey, you want to read that?
Yeah, sure. I would love to, actually. Let me cut to where it shows both you and the Twitter. Okay, great. Actually, I'll cut to where it shows me and the Twitter. You know,
Me and the Twitter.
All right.
The Twitter and me.
The Twitter and me. All right, so her bio is, I like to think I'm funny, period. Instagram, Alicia _22. Her singular tweet is, what if I #just put a hashtag on random #words, ? I don't know why, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Then I was clicking because I was like, does she only have one tweet? Like, that's so funny. And in her tweets and replies, her mom said, welcome to Twitter. And she said, thank you, mother.
So are you new to Twitter?
Yeah, I just got it.
Okay, right on. Well, I see, that's the thing. The world needs to hear from you. I mean, that your first tweet is a smash success, you know? So you put something out there and you're like, all right, that's the first thing that goes out. Now there's don't put more pressure on yourself. Just think, all right, what am I going to do? Let me start small. I'll tweet once every 3 days, and I'll just say one little one-off sentence. That's it. Boom. And then let it grow and evolve from there. Are we following her, Joey?
Double check.
Make sure that we do that.
I definitely like that tweet.
And while we follow Alicia, everybody else should follow Alicia as well. Let me read off her handles here. You can follow Alicia at Instagram at @Alicia_22, and she is very well branded here because at Twitter is @Alicia_22. Her Snapchat is @Alicia_22-1B. Alicia's very funny. She's going to be a very successful comedian, human being, and we sure appreciate having her here at the studio. Thank you so much. Everybody who's watching, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this channel. It means a whole lot to us. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.